Y hoy, gente, tenemos la cartita de agradecimiento. Mañana no sé qué puede ser. No sé qué puede ser. ¿Será la salida del live action? Estaría guapísimo. Sería como un brochecito de oro. Gente, vamos a verlo. Esto es gracias por hacer con nosotros pedidos.
Why is this street so popular? What is this, Bourbon Street? Another one!
Welcome to Payday 2, a game from 2013 that I ignored for 7 years because I'm a brain-dead moron.
But there are some achievements in this game that are outright bullshit.
So how did you end up working on Payday 2?
It's crazy. I was
¿Eres escritor?
working kind of as a freelance writer. I really wanted to work in games, and I was living in the United States at the time, and found a job listing on LinkedIn and applied completely on a whim. And they got back to me and they said yes. They said, "We're flying you out to Sweden." I was like, "All right, let's go."
What did you know about Sweden before you came here?
Literally, ABBA. Let the Right One In. So you got vampires and ABBA. Those were the things that I knew.
Skrik då! Skrik då!
I had no idea I wanted to work in gaming like before I graduated school even. And my mom told me, "Why don't you just make games because you love them so much?" I'm like, "Yes, of course."
Over at the Boris place, just having a couple of drinks, and then we just like started looking over at different companies, and I came across Starbase and like, I thought they went under. I'll send a application.
Right, but I knew I wanted to do games,
Toby.
so I only applied to games companies, every game company I could think of, and didn't get many replies, to be honest. But I got one reply from two different companies, one of them being Starbreeze, and it just sounded amazing, and I just jumped straight onto it.
When I was playing it back then, I didn't realize, I'm going to be working on this when I'm older. So when I got here and I got the opportunity, I was like, yes, please, I really want to do this. And I got a job offer here as a junior animator.
Creo que sigo a este chico en Twitter y me parece muy talentoso con sus animaciones para las armas y demás.
It was incredible, first job experience. I've been very blessed to be here. It's been lovely.
Ever since I was a child, and I got my first Nintendo 64, it's been like, wow, I want to do this for a living.
When I started, Payday 2 just kicked off its development, but I did play some Payday the Heist, and for me it just had I remember even back then, just the theme and the fantasy felt really strong, and it's something that I just wanted to be a part of.
Poco a poco estamos conociendo un montón a la gente que trabaja aquí. Les vamos a coger cariño como si fueran parte de la familia.
Overkill, basically. It wasn't called Overkill first. We had some other names before we actually got it right, so to speak. And we started experimenting a little bit with. We were even doing things for iPhone and trying out that. And before I know we have to do something real, so we started doing one type of game, a first-person game, first-person shooter in the engine. But then we thought, no, this is too much. We can't do that thing, and then we kind of merged into. Be Payday then.
Payday as a franchise was still pretty small. Like, it was a very, very small community, and when we started to develop Payday 2, we didn't really have any expectations around like how big of an impact it would have.
It was like full on from the beginning. It was making content and like everything wasn't really set, so a lot needed to be done, and a lot of decisions was made on the fly as well. And but it was a really, really fun experience.
And that was incredibly intense, that part of my life, because the team was much smaller, but we managed to do it. And I think it was because we had such a clear idea of where we were going. And even though the game loop didn't come together until weeks before launch, it felt like, still the content was there. the look and feel of it all.
Maybe the passion also from the
and the passion from the team, you know, even though there, of course, you know, there is always something going on, you know, in the studio, but I think we had such a clear
Es gracioso
idea
como ver cómo Almir a lo largo de todos estos años se ha convertido como una especie de estrella de los videojuegos, del internet. Es increíble. Tanto así que ha pasado de hacer sus directos para Starbreeze a directos en su propio canal y lo está petando. Es espectacular. Ahí referencita al Joker.
Let's do this.
Diesel is our game engine, a game engine that has its roots back in Green's first game, which was a racing game.
It's a fitting name because Diesel was the first.
Diesel Engine. Si queréis saber más sobre ello, tengo un vídeo larguísimo hablando sobre ello.
1890s or something. So that was pretty fun when it's called a Diesel Engine. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, oh, when I had to learn diesel, it was like, no documentation at all. I mean, you had like an old wiki or something with like incomplete and like deprecated things in there. Then there was one folder on a Google Drive where people had tried to make a tutorial on how to create a unit, which is also like 7 years old. And you're like, okay, I guess this is how you do it.
Control Z was added in 2015. So before that, they had no Control Z. So if you made an error, sucks to be you. It is very archaic. It is very old. And it has.
Estarán agradeciendo a tope pasar del Diesel Engine al nuevo motor gráfico. Que hay mucha más información, mucha mejor documentación, guías más profesionales que trabajan sobre ese motor gráfico. Será mucho más fácil a partir de ahora, estoy seguro.
Having a frame is also a kind of a good way to work on your creativity. You know, like a bit of pressure, a little bit of restriction. It requires you to be more creative to make something like very interesting with less resources.
Yeah. And it's really giving me appreciation for how to like make things from scratch. You don't get it for free in Diesel. You have to make everything from scratch. So I think it's made me a lot of a better artist just because I basically had to know how to make everything from hand.
Que ahora tira mucho de librerías, ¿no? Incluso las compran, pero claro, en Diesel Engine, como era un motor gráfico propio, no había objetos ni nada que pudieras comprar en una market. Yeah, Gustavo Coutinho, mi amigo.
It's very interesting to work on high intensity music. I really love that. So I think that's the part that I enjoy the most. That I want to squeeze out every bit of action that I can out of the songs.
Ojo, la banda sonora de Payday 3, ¿no? Se está filtrando aquí mismo.
The fun is coming in every day and like seeing the QA department working together. Every day we get new bugs from the community, and every day you're surprised at what they find. Sometimes it's like, what the hell are you guys doing out there to find some of these things? Because yeah, there are bad bugs out there, but there are also good ones that are funny. An example is being tased by while reloads your gun. I know there is history with that with the community as well. We patched that out. There was a public outroar why we did it, because people actually use that as a tactic, right? So if you're running out of bullets, get tased and you get an auto reload to continue shooting. So it's a bug, but it's also a mechanic for some players, right?
Pensaba que lo habían hecho así a propósito.
Fired back at us when we patched it out. So like people want us, like okay.
No lo hicieron a propósito.
Why do you think people play Payday 2?
I like that it is so far a pretty unique game in that it's a cops and robbers game, and that's fun on a very basic level.
The fact that you do it with a stealthy approach that leads into loud. For me, the game is not necessarily about I need to succeed doing a heist completely in stealth. That's an end goal for me. Like that's like if I do that, that's awesome. But For me, it's more like the process of how far can I get before shit hits the fan and we have to go loud and then manage, you know, by fighting.
Usually when you experience a story, you
Ellie.
experience a story and then you're kind of done. But with Payday, there's nothing like that. You can keep coming back, and there's always a unique experience, you know, depending on who you bring or what you're in the mood for that day, or just it's always like something new awaiting for you that you just haven't discovered yet.
You know, games like that, they're few and far between, I find. Like, there's a lot of online games, but a few really capture that kind of feeling of camaraderie while you're playing. And the community is so lovely as well that you even get that when you're queuing with people that you don't know. So I think that's also what draws people into the game.
You're really inside the bank. Every interaction counts, every action counts, and that makes it unique, you know?
It's fun. It's extremely fun to play Payday 2, or any Payday game. It's just fun. It's the mayhem, or you can sneak around, you can do it with friends. There's so many levels of doing one single heist.
I think one of the most fun things is actually seeing people play it and enjoy it. I mean, it's a very active game that a lot of people play, and a very old one.
Por ejemplo, es este canal, ¿no? O cualquier otro canal de Payday. Podemos estar horas viendo cómo alguien juega. No te cansas. Tiene algo especial, desde luego. Pero no. Luego, ¿cómo te ha puesto la cámara, amigo? Poco más y no se te ve ni el pelo.
Kind of stopped counting, and Payday is just about the only one that has this level of community interaction. I've just not experienced anything like it elsewhere. It's really quite astonishing.
Oh! You jumps! You come up here, I'll clap your fucking...
If you could talk directly to the community, what would you say?
Keep playing.
The reason I wanted to do this video is just to say thank you to the community. They've been very patient with my work over the past 2 years, and I just wanted to, you know, say thank you to them and just appreciate them playing the game, modding the game, creating content for the game on like YouTube and on Twitch and everything like that. And I just wanted to, you know, just say thank you to them.
Me encanta esta gente, me caen súper bien, tío. Son tan transparentes, se les ve buena gente.
For as long as you have, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for playing Payday 2 all of these years. I love you all very much.
Grateful for the continued support, and I do think it's, I mean, shit, you guys are very, very passionate about Payday 2, and I love that.
And I really, really want to say thank you to the community, because they've been here. We wouldn't have the success that we have without this community, for sure not.
Why Payday has been so successful for 10 years now, Payday 2, is because we've listened to the community. We've made changes to it. Like,
Esa
if you
traducción
compare
la he visto.
Payday 2 vanilla to what it is right now, I mean, sure, it's the same concept, but it's a totally different game.
We try our best to pay attention to what they like, and accentuate that, and see if we can, you know, enhance it or amplify it as much as possible. That's kind of like our goal. And see if we can make even better games like going forward, you know, and a better Payday going forward.
I would just say thank you, keep those helmets flying, because we're doing this just because of you guys and girls. Otherwise, yeah, otherwise Payday wouldn't become the success it is now.
Looking back over these 10 years, it's a lot of beautiful memories, a lot of hardships, I'm not gonna lie, but ultimately it became something great, and it's a lot thanks to you. So thank you so much for your support. Thanks for playing. I salute you.
Thank you for being so into the game, and yeah, I guess stay tuned, because, you know, there's some really cool stuff on the horizon, and it's, even after all this time, it feels like it's just the beginning.
Con todas las firmas de todo, ¿no? De todo el equipo. Tremendo. Muy chulo, tío. ¿Alguien tiene el pelito de punta? Muy chulo. Muy chulo, muy chulo, muy chulo.
What a ride. What a fucking ride.
Por cierto, este man es el director.
What a
Es
ride.
Andreas. Es el director de Payday 3. Este es el que está detrás de todo el ajo. Queredle.